This is Tecker 901, episode 66, OneNote.
Hello, I'm Reed Dame.
I'm Michael Plasmeier.
Today we're showing you Microsoft OneNote, software that enables you to take notes on your computer.
Right, so this is OneNote 2007 is part of the Office 2007 suite. You can acquire it as part of Home and Student, which is $150 for 3 computers for non-commercial use, or you can buy it on its own for $100. Let's go with the Home and Student because that way you get Word, Excel, and PowerPoint on and allow use for 3 computers. And we mentioned it's listed at about $150, but we found it for like $120 or something online, or even in some stores on sale.
So most people, when they use a laptop in class to take notes, they probably use Microsoft Word. However, there are a lot of advantages to use OneNote instead of Microsoft Word to take notes.
Right.
So we're going to be showing you some of them today.
Mm-hmm. So basically the thing is, with OneNote, all your notes are organized with notebooks, folders, and stuff, and we'll be showing you. But with Word, basically you write up a page of notes, then it's a file, and then you have a file on maybe you have them all in a folder if you're that organized, so all your calculus notes may be in a calculus folder or something, or all your English notes are in an English folder. But you can't really organize further than that, and then you're going to have to open up each file if you're looking for something. Unless you have desktop search, you can't search across everything easily, including things like pictures and web clippings is harder than it is in OneNote. So let's show you the OneNote way of organizing.
Over here on the sides, you have your notebooks, and usually what we do for taking notebooks is it's just the classes you're taking if you're a student.
Right.
So we have classes Entrepreneurship, English 12, and Business Law. And he has all his classes listed on the side here. And if he clicks one, say Entrepreneurship, he has all his sections on top, week 4, week 5, and you can just click any one of them and view all of the pages over here within that.
Right. So in entrepreneurship, I have it sorted by weeks, but in English, this is probably a better example. I have it sorted by book names. So Sir Gawain and the Green Knight, Chaucer, the Dante's Divine Comedy that we're reading. And in another class, I have it by unit, and in another class, I have it by unit. So basically, you can just have sections for whatever, however you want to organize it. And then, as Reed mentioned, you have your pages. So down the side here, we have our particular pages and just items that we can put stuff on. So I'm going to make a new page here. And a page is kind of like a Word document. It has a title, so title of the page that goes in here. And then here's where I can put the contents of the page. One quick thing I want to show you is you can minimize all this toolbars and stuff to go full screen. And now you just start typing. For what's cool with OneNote and how it's also better than Word is you can just click anywhere and start typing. If you see, I'm just moving the mouse, clicking somewhere, and then I can start typing. And it automatically puts stuff in like a box that I can then later move around. With Word, it's not really meant for that. Word is more for if you want to do polished presentations, whereas this is more of a quick way of doing things.
Yeah, I feel like OneNote is more open-ended in how you want to just organize your notes on the page, whereas Word, you just list them all vertically going down, and this you can just move things around really easily.
Right. This actually doesn't have pages. Like if you go down, it'll just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling forever, as much space as you need. If not, there's no specific page break. If you're printing something, of course, they'll divide it up to pages in order to print it. But if you're just doing normal notes, you don't really care about page divisions in your notes. You just want it all on one continuously scrolling page. So it also has sort of typing improvements. It has stuff like Word where you push 1, it knows that you want to do numbering, and then you can type stuff and
does that with ABCs as well.
Right.
If you do A.
And then whatever format it'll sort of learn. I thought it did. Yeah, there we go. So I just push enter and it'll add a new item on my list. Word does this too. If you tab, it'll actually create a sub-list automatically. That's something that Word doesn't do. So if you're outlining, so let's say, I have Yahoo as my main topic, and then I just go to the new line, hit tab, and then I can do sub things under Yahoo. For example, my Yahoo Mail. So basically it allows you to quickly outline. If I want to go back, I just type backspace twice, and now I'm back in the main row. So basically you can just control this all from the keyboard as you're typing, instead of having to hit buttons to indent or demote outlines. Probably the coolest keyboard thing is you can quickly make tables. So if I wanted to do, I just let's say make a table with the header or one column being services, one being price. So I just type services, the column header, and then I just hit tab, and then price, and you see it's made a table right here. I hit enter, adds a new row to the table. I'll say mail, tab, $100, news, tab, $50. So I was able to make this table entirely without lifting my fingers off the keyboard and touching the mouse. So while you're in class and typing, it's a very quick way of doing that.
In addition to the typing improvements of OneNote over Word, it also allows you to clip in screenshots from your computer.
Right.
This is done by going to the clip tool up top.
And then it'll open up whatever window you had opened before.
And you can just circle either with the mouse, or if you have a touchscreen computer, you can just
you can use it with a finger. So let's say I want to capture this
text too.
Yeah, Ben & Jerry's. We'll take the text too, so I'll just highlight that in a box,
and it'll automatically import that right there. And in addition to importing just the picture, it'll index the text in here if it can read it. So it says vote cone. Now if we search for vote, this picture and this page will come up in the results because it indexes the text.
Right, it uses optical character recognition to actually look at the typed text and recognize it, so that way it's searchable. One quick thing is we're importing stuff. Let's say I'm reading this article on Newsweek.com and I find it handy. I could use the clip tool to import it, or I could also highlight it, let's say like that, and then drag it in. So I drag it into OneNote, and now it's pasted into my article, and it's also conveniently put this line in here that says pasted from, and the URL from the page I pasted from. You can turn this off if you don't like it, but I find it really handy because as I'm researching stuff quickly, I can just copy it in without worrying about citing the URL it came from, because it'll add that for me automatically. It still has your normal text features, like I can change the size of the text or change the font of it and the color. So it still has all that, stuff if you're looking for that. You can also insert anything that can be printed into Microsoft OneNote. So, for example, if you have a Microsoft Word document, you can actually Control P, and then instead of selecting your normal printer, you'd select the Send to Microsoft OneNote printer. You can do this in any application that supports printing, like a CAD program or some obscure thing. As long as it supports printing, you can have it show up into OneNote, and then it'll show up into OneNote as like a page. It's not editable or anything, but it'll show up sort of as like a piece of paper in Microsoft OneNote.
In addition to saving as Microsoft OneNote files, Microsoft OneNote also has the ability to export with the plugin as a PDF file.
Right, so if you have Microsoft Office 07 and you install the XPS and PDF utility, then you can publish as a PDF or XPS from Microsoft OneNote, and this means that you're able to easily share with with other people, because while they might not have OneNote, about 98% of computers or thereabouts have PDF installed. So basically anyone can read a PDF that you send them. So file export as PDF, and then you can choose either this particular page, the current section, or the current notebook. I find this is really handy to archive my documents. In addition, if you use Microsoft Outlook as your email client like I do, I can just click the email button, and then I can just start typing a name of someone who I want to send this document to, and then it'll send a copy to them. If you use like webmail, like Gmail, that's not going to work. You have to export as a PDF and then send them the PDF. So it's a few more steps if you don't use Outlook.
I find the PDF exporting to be a really good feature because PDF is a global standard, and a PDF file, if you open it on any computer, will look exactly the same on any computer with the fonts and the image size and everything. It's not like old Microsoft Word and then Word 07 where you open it and it's going to look different.
Right. So
it's very standard, and you can just send it to anyone.
Mm-hmm. So if you want to send your OneNote files, just export them as a PDF. You can even do the whole notebook as a PDF. I've actually done this as after some of my classes, and then I have all of the notes in one file that can be openable on any computer, even people who don't have OneNote.
Microsoft OneNote is designed for tablet PCs, which are computers that you flip around and write on the screen.
Right.
Using a Wacom pen.
Most people use OneNote with a keyboard, actually, by statistic, but OneNote is actually really well designed to work on tablet PCs, and both Reed and I actually have identical tablet PCs here. And so mine, I have it in standard laptop mode here, but Reed has his flip down, and yes, as Reed is demonstrating, he can write on it with a pen, so I can do that too. If I go here, I can select the pen input color. It's just working a little poorly right now, my handwriting, because it's hooked up to the TV and it's actually smaller on this monitor, but I can just write on here, and my handwriting would be much neater if it was actual, if I had it flipped over and if it wasn't smaller so that it could fit on the TV. So
the benefit of using OneNote with a tablet PC over a regular laptop is that you can draw things like chemistry and mathematics formulas and exponents,
right,
which are hard or impossible to do with a regular laptop.
Yeah, this is my actual calculus homework from I guess this weekend or from yesterday, and you see I can do equations, I draw graphs with it. Basically in calculus I draw everything in Microsoft OneNote using the pen, and you see here I'm able to bring in things from the site that lists the problem, like I'm able to bring in the problem description, I'm able to bring in graphs. I don't know if I have any examples on here. Like here I have a graph from my graphing utility, so not only do I have my handwritten notes, but I'm also bringing stuff in from other applications.
So you can use OneNote without a tablet PC just to type on, because you can still type anywhere you want. You can't do that
right.
Word. But I think it is a lot better with a tablet because you can do the formulas and you get the benefit of having a tablet.
Right. A tablet is definitely much more helpful in calculus and stuff than you couldn't do calculus notes on a computer if it was just you typing. But still, OneNote works fine typing, and in some of my classes, particular English, where we do a lot of typing, here we drew a diagram of Dante's Inferno with my pen. Sometimes I do notes with the pen, but other times I type stuff in. So it just works, if you have ink or if you're just using the keyboard. One additional feature that OneNote has, and this is the final one we're going to share with you, is sharing. So you can actually have a shared notebook that resides on a central server, and then two or more people can be working on it, and whatever changes they make are synced immediately between them. Or a simpler version of that is the live sharing, which we're going to show you. So I'm going to share with Reed notes from my trip to Boston that I've actually already accomplished. So you can see in here I actually printed my itinerary off Expedia into my OneNote notebook, so that's on here. I have the directions that I made. I've printed that on here. So basically, centralized location. So I go share, live sharing, start current sharing. I'm going to set a session password. I'm just going to make this be Tecker 911, no spaces, and then we're going to start the live sharing session. It's going to remind me that everything in this Boston notebook is going to be accessible to read. So it's starting the live sharing session.
And then I'll join that by going share, live sharing session, join existing session.
Right.
On the bottom, I just type in the IP address.
Right, he's going to type in the address of my computer, which I've brought up on the screen here. And after, this isn't going to work after the sharing session's over, sorry. So only Reed's going to be able to do this. He's entering in the information right now, my IP address. And he's going to enter in the share password.
And then I'll hit join session, connecting to a live sharing session. And then there we go. Then I'm viewing his plans on my screen.
Alright, let's go to the Untitled page. Alright, so he's bringing up the Untitled page. This is the page that I have up here. I'm just going to give this a title and go full screen, and Reed's actually going to draw on this.
Live sharing, the faster the network connection, the better experience it will be, because it has to sync all the changes over the wireless network or wired network.
Right, so now it's brought up, so he's just going to start drawing on it with a pen, and then it'll update on our screen in about a few seconds. There we go. You see that's what he just wrote on there about 5 seconds ago. And so that's live sharing. And we know that this works over the local network. I don't think we've ever tested it over the internet per se. But this is some kind of cool to be working on two computers and working on the same stuff.
This would be a feature where if the teacher was at their desk, they could have a live sharing session, and even without any tablets, they could be typing in notes or inputting pictures, and then all the students could be viewing it, and the teacher could even set this so that the students could not edit.
Right, so it's a useful collaboration tool, and I think with future versions of OneNote, Microsoft is moving more towards collaboration for what OneNote can do. So let's talk a little bit about OneNote's competitors. There's a program called Evernote, evernote.com. All right, so Evernote is slightly different from what OneNote is. Evernote does work not only on a Windows computer, but it also has your notes available online and on the iPhone, and I think they also have a Mac client. What I see Evernote more as is it has more scraps of notes. So if you watch their introductory video, they talk more about note scraps. So if you're familiar with how a photo editor looks, they have this arrangement here. So basically every note that you've imported is sort of like a scrap, an item here. And
that has like tags, searching, and stuff like that. But I feel like this isn't really taking notes in class so much as taking little snapshots of things that you want to save and then synchronizing it with all your computers.
All your computers, your iPhone, online. So yeah, I totally agree with him. It's more of like little snapshot things you want to save, like little post-its and stuff you want to save, whereas OneNote works for that, but it seems to also work for large format stuff. Another of their competitors is Zoho, and Zoho is the online office suite. It's a competitor to Google Docs and spreadsheets, except they have a lot more stuff like Zoho Notebook, and we're going to log into Zoho and open up the Zoho Notebook.
Zoho Notebook is completely online. It's online only, so you'd have to have an internet connection to be using it.
And here they do have Zoho Notebook, which was what I was talking about, where you have these notebooks down the side here, the sections and the pages, exactly like Microsoft OneNote. But then, yeah, you just double click and start typing somewhere. It does not work as well as Microsoft because it's all online. It's not, software on your computer. You can't do the clips. You can't do the more advanced stuff. But it's kind of useful. I don't actually.
You can draw with it in the lower right. You have drawing tools, but it's really limited. I don't think it'll convert it to text for you. It doesn't look like there's any searching, and it certainly doesn't have the all the powers of importing a screenshot and then searching the text. It doesn't have everything.
Right. Actually, working with it, I don't really know what the use would be for this product. It seems more like, they have the basic functionality there, but it doesn't have that everything's available functionality of OneNote, and it's a pain to sort of get it working and all that. So, you give it a try, totally free, Zoho.com, available online. Maybe you'll find a use for it. So I hope this was a helpful introduction to some of the note-taking software available. I'm Michael Plasmeier.
I'm Reed Dame. Take good notes.
To watch this episode again or to watch any of our prior episodes, you can visit our website, 911.tecker.net, T-E-C-K-E-R. And on the website we have our prior episodes, as well as you can view them directly on the website, or you can download them in WMV for Windows, iPod or QuickTime format for your iPod, or if you have iTunes installed, an MP3 audio-only version of the show, and a WMV HD version of the show, which you can download via BitTorrent that looks really, really clear and in pristine HD quality. And instructions for downloading via BitTorrent are also on the site. On the right-hand side, we have more information about us and about each of the members of the show, as well as quick links to all of our prior episodes, and links to the RSS feeds for each of the formats that we release the show in, and links to subscribe to the show in iTunes if you have an iPod, an Apple TV, an iPhone, any Apple device. You can click on that link in either video or audio format. You can also, in iTunes, search for Tecker, T-E-C-K-E-R, in the iTunes store, and then you can find our podcast that you can subscribe to free. Also, if you do not have an iPod, if you have like a generic MP3 player, then you can use you can still listen to our show if on our website you subscribe to this MP3 audio version in a feed catcher, in a podcatcher like Juice. You can search for Juice on Google, download that program, and then it'll load the shows automatically onto your generic MP3 playing device. If you have any questions about the show or about technology, you can send us an email at 911@tecker.net, or you can leave us a voicemail at 610-572-2847. Thank you so much for watching Tecker 911.